Hey guys, in this video we're going to size a ring. Now it's one of the most underrated aspects of being a jeweler because honestly finger size changes over time. So people need their ring sized all the time. It's one of the cornerstones of being a bench jeweler, a goldsmith, a silversmith, and it's something you need to be proficient at and know how it works. So in this video I'm going to go through and show you how I size rings. And for anyone who's not a bench jeweler, it's just fun to watch the process and see how it goes. So this is a ring of one of my customers that stopped in. They needed it done, well, they didn't need it done fast, but I offered to do it fast within an hour because they're from a town that's like 45 minutes away. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to be able to just pump it out for them. They could go get something to eat, come back, and that's what happened. The ring turned out great and they walked out happy customers. So come on, let's go check it out. We start out with seeing what size it is. This one was a 6 3/4 and it actually needed to go down to a 6. So just slightly under what I have shown there. And now I am marking my piece and how much I need to take out. And bringing my saw up and we're going to cut out these two lines. Now I'm taking out a small chunk of this ring and then I'll form it back so I can solder the seam shut. And this takes out just a little bit. So I know a lot of people ask, what do you do with the extra gold? And this is so small, it won't even register on my scale. So honestly, it's a couple dollars worth of gold, possibly. And it is something I work into the price of my jobs. So this one is accounted for when I price the job out for the customer. This ring is pretty narrow, so I can bend it with my hands, no problem. And what I'm trying to do is make a very tight seam. I don't want to be able to see any light through the seam, so my solder will flow directly through the seam and create a really, really tight fit. And one of the things that needs to happen is I coat the ring with this fire scale material, and it's flammable. It's denatured alcohol mixed with some other materials, and it creates a fire coating, so there's no fire scale that happens on the ring when I heat it up. I put a little bit of flux on my seam and a piece of white gold solder, and then I'm going to go and heat it from the bottom. Now, the solder wants to flow towards the flame, so I put the solder on the inside of the ring, and I heat it from the bottom, and it'll suck down into the seam. It's called capillary action. It's a really cool process, actually, how it just finds the seam and flows right into it. Now I'm going to start the process of cleaning up all of the excess solder. So there I sanded out the solder very quickly. I'm going to throw it on my ring mandrel and round it out with a leather mallet so I don't mark up the ring. Now this, because I took out the precise amount, it's going to come right to a 6. But it won't be a 6 if the ring isn't round. And this one wasn't quite round, so I have to just tap on the sides and the back and make sure the ring is round again. And then it goes right to a 6 like we determined that's what we wanted. So there it is at a 6. Now honestly, a lot of this video is going through the process of cleaning up the previous tool marks. So the first sanding drum I used was a coarse, and then that's a little more fine, and this one's like a 1500 grit, so it is prepared for polishing. Because as you step up your grits, it will remove all the sanding marks from the previous one, therefore leaving you a really smooth surface that when you go to polish, it'll be a mirror finish. And I'm doing the same thing on the sides. I have sanding sticks for that to make sure everything stays nice and flat. I have a 400, 600, and 1500 grit, and I just work those up. And then I go to the tops. You always want to go inside, sides, and then top. Now, when I do the top of the ring, I use a file to get the excess solder off, and then I go through the process again. 400, 600, 1500. Then it's time to hit it with the polishing wheel. And this is really important to go through these steps. It looks like rudimentary and not important, but if you don't follow these steps, it won't turn out well. Now before I polish, I'm going to check all these diamonds. I want to make sure everyone is tight, so I'm touching the sides opposite of the prongs, and there was one little one right here at the bottom that was a little loose, so I'm going to have to tighten that one. But I'm going through and checking all of them, because a lot of times when you size a ring, especially down, you're taking out a little piece of gold and pulling it in, and that opens up the prongs, and sometimes you'll come in with a loose diamond. This one had one little loose one. That's not too bad, so it didn't take me long, and I snugged it up before I go to polish again. And it's just part of the process. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always a good idea. Actually, it's not always a good idea. It is 100% necessary to go through and check the gems when you're finished with the work. So I do it twice. I do it right before I polish, and then I do it again after it comes out of my ultrasonic cleaner, because sometimes there might be a little bit of gunk on the bottom of one of those rings, some lotion or what have you that's literally holding it in there. And it turns to cement. Like lotion will almost turn to cement once it dries. So I will check it again once it comes out of my ultrasonic cleaner. Now, I put my ultrasonic in there because it makes a racket. I don't like the noise. So I put it in that file cabinet, and I modified it so it would fit in there. And then I put the styrofoam around so it's not so loud. And there it is. All the gems are tight. My seams, you can't see them at all. It's a size 6, just like the customer wanted. It's fully polished, just like new again, and ready to go. Thanks for watching, guys.